for me, it was kind of an interesting story because I had actually decided to just join the military. And I was like, oh, this is the right path for me. Like, I need to do it. And it was in the month of October, and I'd been working on like my military contracting, and I'd been applying for a medical waiver for about 6 months, and the Department of Defense hadn't approved it. And so I went into my lieutenant colonel's office one day. Well, he called me in, and he was like, hey, Russo, I need you to sit down. Like, I need to tell you something. It's kind of important. And I was like, oh, shoot, like, I'm going to have to fill out more paperwork, apply for another waiver or something. And when I sat down, he was like, hey, you've been disqualified from military service entirely. Like, you're not ever going to be able to serve in the military. And it broke my heart. I was going to drop out of school. I called my dad. I was like, hey, I've got to get out of here. Like, I cannot be in Provo anymore. I can't function out here. Like, I have no purpose because my career goal and like my life goal was gone. And my dad was like very inspired. And he told me, he was like, hey, you need to come home for conference this weekend. And I promise you that in the first 10 minutes, your question will be answered and you'll know what to do with your life. And I was like, okay, like, I'll do it. But like, I honestly don't believe you 100%, which is really sad. I went home for conference and I was listening to conference, and of course that's the conference where Thomas S. Monson is like, hey, we're changing the age to 19. Sisters can go. And so my dad was my bishop at that time. So that moment was when I started my papers. Like, I started working on them then. And then later I requalified for military service after going and getting an operation done on my ears. And I requalified again in 18 months. So it was very obvious that there was a specific purpose for me being disqualified. And I didn't understand at the time why I needed to serve. I mean, I knew the church was true. I knew that it was important, but I thought my mission was somewhere else. But my advice would be to listen to the Spirit. And when He tells you no on one path, pay attention to other opportunities. Because there's a million different opportunities out there. We just have to be aware of them and where to find them. The funniest thing is my little sister is so good. Like, she does family history like nobody's business. And she'd been researching all of our ancestors from Scotland. And so I open it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Scotland and Ireland. There's leprechauns. Oh my goodness, it's going to be great. Pots of gold and rainbows, you know? And my little sister comes up and she just gives me a hug and she's like, Natalie, this is where Jeanette Struthers, one of our ancestors, is from. You'll be able to connect with her. And I was like, wait, what? There's leprechauns. Like, just kind of a funny little conversation we had, but I was really excited. I was really excited to serve there. I mean, it's Scotland and Ireland, let's be real. I don't really have too much from the MTC because we were only there for like 10 days. I mean, it was awesome, and my district was awesome. I love them all. They're great.